Hey everyone, welcome to By Goldenberry. I'm Tina. I recently made these placemats for myself, made with hemp yarn, to replace this coaster and placemat set that I've had for years. They're cork on the bottom, but they're covered in this plastic coating that I don't really like very much. It's really hard to clean, so I wanted to make myself a more sustainable version of a placemat, and this is it. And I wanted to share the pattern with you in case you wanted to make some yourself as well. First, I'll show you what tools you need to get started, and then we'll go through each round together. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments and I'll answer them for you. What you'll need for this pattern is around 90 yards of a DK weight yarn. I used 100% hemp. I know hemp can be difficult to find, so I'll pop some other sustainable options in the description below for you. You'll be using a 5mm crochet hook, a darning needle, a stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. So grab your tools and let's begin. We're going to start with a magic ring. If you need a recap, there's a whole other video on my channel that will show you exactly how to complete the magic ring. And once you have it, you will need to create 6 single crochets into the magic ring. If you're using hemp, then you might want to try and crochet a bit looser so that it's easier to get your hook into the stitches. It can be a bit difficult to work with sometimes. So once you have your 6, we're going to pull the end closed and we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet stitch that we made. And we're going to use our stitch marker to mark this join. And we're marking this join because this will be the last stitch that we work into on every round. So we want to keep track of that one. So I'm just going to pull this a little bit tighter. And round 2, we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to make 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. Again, if you're not sure about the half double crochet, there's another tutorial on my channel just for that. So we'll make 2 in each stitch. And we're at the marked stitch, so we're just going to remove that and make 2 more into there as well. And then we're going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet stitch that we made. To join the circle. And again, we're going to mark the join so that we can keep track of that stitch. And you should have 12 half double crochet stitches around. For round 3, we're going to chain 3. And this counts as our first half double crochet stitch and a chain 1. And we're going to miss the next stitch, which is this one here. And we're going to half double crochet into the next one, chain 1, and half double crochet into that same stitch. So we have this kind of V shape going on here. Again, this is our first half double crochet and a chain 1 to skip this stitch here. So we're going to chain 1 again, skip the next stitch, and do another V stitch into the next one. So a half double crochet, chain 1, and another half double crochet. And we're going to do that 5 times. So just keep going round, making your V stitches and missing the next stitch. Remembering to chain 1 in between. So we should have 5 V stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And next we're going to skip the next stitch and remove the marker and half double crochet into that marked stitch, chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into the second chain of the chain 3. So this is the first one and the second one. So we'll slip stitch into there. And that makes our last V stitch like that. So that's round 3 done. And again, we're going to mark that last join with our stitch marker. So we should have 6 V's all together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just check that you have 24 stitches all the way around. Just make sure before we move on, because it's important to keep the count right. So for round 4, we're going to chain 1. And we're going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches. If you can, try and go under both loops, because it just makes the finished pattern look a bit better. If you can't, it's fine. So we'll single crochet into the first 2, and then 2 single crochets into the next. This is why it's a good idea to work some of the stitches a bit looser, especially these chains in the middle, because then you can make sure that your hook will go in. If you're using quite a stiff yarn like hemp or jute, for example, or linen, actually linen's quite smooth, but hemp and jute for definite, you will need to make them a bit looser to make sure that you can get your hook in. So single crochet into the first 2 and then 2 single crochets into the next, and just repeat that all the way around and meet me back here. I'm just going to make the last 2 single crochets into that last stitch where the marker was. And then we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet to join the round. And mark that stitch again. And that's the end of round 4, and we should have 32 stitches. Again, just make sure before we move on. Round 5 is going to be another V stitch round, so we're going to chain 3. And this time we're going to skip 2 stitches, so we're not counting this one because that's the join. So that's 1, 2, and we're going to work into here. So we're going to half double crochet into that 3rd stitch and chain 1 and half double crochet again. And we're going to do that 10 times. So we'll chain 1, skip 2 stitches and work into the 3rd one. Chain 1, half double crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, skip 2, half double crochet into the next, and meet me back here when you're nearing the end. We should now have 10 V stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you'll notice at the end here that we only have 1 stitch remaining before the marked stitch. Don't worry, that's intentional to keep the pattern that we want at the end. So we're going to just miss this stitch here, and we're going to do a half double crochet into that marked stitch like we would normally. Chain 1 and again slip stitch into the 2nd chain of that chain 3 to join, and mark the join again. And that's the end of round 5. It does mean that this gap is ever so slightly smaller than the others, but you can hardly tell. And like I said, it's important to keep this pattern that we're looking for around. We should have 11 V's altogether and 44 stitches. So again, just make sure, just count all the way around and make sure you have 44 before we move to round 6. Round 6 is just a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into each stitch. Again, try and get under both of those loops. If it's difficult, it's okay to just go into one. It can be really difficult with hemp. Okay, I'm just gonna do it like that. It just makes a better finish if you can get under both loops. If not, it's fine. So single crochet around and meet me back here at the end. At the end of round 6, you should still have 44 stitches, and just mark this last join again like we've been doing. And for round 7, we're going to chain 3. We're going to do another V-stitch round. We're going to skip 2 stitches, so that's 1, 2, and we're going to half double crochet into that 3rd stitch. Chain 1 and half double crochet again. and chain 1 and miss the next 2, half double crochet again, and we're going to do that 14 times. So you need to have 14 V-stitches by the time we meet back here next. You should have 14 V-stitches, and again you'll notice that at the end we only have 1 stitch before the marked stitch. Again, it's fine, it's intentional. So chain 1 and half double crochet into that marked stitch to create the last V-stitch for the round, and slip stitch into the chain 2 of the initial chain 3. So you should have 15 altogether and 60 stitches. You might see that it's starting to curl a little bit. That's okay, it's fine, it's all going to flatten out towards the end. So we'll mark this last stitch again. And we'll move on to round 8, which is another single crochet round. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet into the first 9 stitches and then 2 single crochet into the next. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 2 single crochets into the next one. Okay, and repeat that pattern until the end. At the end of round 8, you should have 66 stitches altogether, and for round 9, it's another V-stitch round. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip 2 stitches again. So that's 1, 2, and we're going to half double crochet into that 3rd stitch. Chain 1 and half double crochet again. Chain 1, skip 2 and make another V-stitch. And we're going to do 21 V-stitches. So meet me back here when you have 21. You should now have 21 V-stitches around. Remove the marker and half double crochet into that last marked stitch. Chain 1 and slip stitch into the chain 2. So you should have 22 V's all the way around, including this one, and 88 stitches. So again, just double check, just count them and make sure, because it's really important. And we'll move on to round 10. So we've marked that last join like we normally do, and round 10 is a single crochet round. So we're just going to single crochet all the way around into each stitch. Just 1 single crochet into each stitch. So we'll begin that. I'll meet you back here when I've come to the end. At the end of round 10 you should still have 88 stitches, and we're going to move on to round 11. That's going to be another V-stitch round, so we'll chain 3 again. And this time we're going to skip 3 stitches, so that's 1, 2, 3, and we'll half double crochet into that next stitch to make the V. Chain 1, half double crochet again, and chain 1, but skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and V-stitch into the next. Chain 1, skip 3, V-stitch into the 4th, and keep repeating that until you have 21 V-stitches again, and I'll meet you back here in just a second. Once you have 21 V-stitches, you'll come to the end, and again you'll notice that we have the right amount of stitches to skip, so we'll just go ahead and make our last half double crochet into the marked stitch. Making sure that you've chained 1 first, and chain 1 again, and slip stitch into the chain 2. Then we're going to mark that join again. And this is what it looks like at the minute. And so you should have 22 V-stitches and 88 stitches altogether. So we'll move on to round 12. And again, that's going to be another single crochet round. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into the next 7 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 8th stitch. So I've done 3 already. 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then 2 single crochet into the next. And just repeat that all the way around and meet me back here in a second. This is the end of round 12, and you should have 99 stitches in total. And round 13 is going to be another HDC round. So we're going to chain 4 this time. And the reason is because this counts as the first half double crochet and chain 2 over the skipped stitches. We're going to be, for this round, we're going to be alternating between chaining 2 and chaining 1. So for the first V-stitch, we'll chain 2, and for the next one, we'll chain 1. I'll show you what I mean. So we'll skip 3 stitches here. We'll half double crochet into the 4th stitch. We'll still chain 1 here in between the half double crochets. And then for this next lot of skipped stitches, we'll just chain 1. Skip 3. Half double crochet into the next. Chain 1, half double crochet into the same stitch. And then chain 2 this time. We're still skipping 3 though. We're always skipping 3. So half double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, half double crochet. and then chain 1. Skip 3 stitches. Carry on alternating until you have 11 repeats of that pattern. So altogether you'll have 22 V-stitches, and meet me back here in a second. Okay, I have 11 repeats of that pattern, and I know earlier I said that you would have 22 V-stitches, but actually you would have 23 because we made 1 first and then we started the pattern, the repeat. So you should have 23 V's at this point. And then we're going to just make another V-stitch. We're going to chain 1 first, skip 3, 2, 3, do another V here, and then we're going to chain 2, but this time we only have 2 stitches to skip, and we're going to do another half double crochet into that marked stitch, chain 1 and slip stitch into this chain 2. We'll mark the join again. And altogether we should have 25 V-stitches and 113 stitches before moving on to round 14. So round 14 will be another single crochet round, and so we just chain 1 and single crochet all the way around, and meet me back here when you're at the end of round 14. At the end of round 14, this is what it should look like, and we're going to finish off. We're on the last round. We're going to create a border. We're going to do a picot border. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. We're going to chain 3, and then slip stitch into the next 4 stitches. So it's slip stitch into the next one to make the picot, and then slip stitch into the next 3. And then chain 3 again, 2, 3, slip stitch into the next, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next 4 this time. So we're going to alternate between slip stitching into the next 3 and slip stitching into the next 4. So we'll make another picot, slip stitch into the next, and then slip stitch into the next 3. Chain 3 again, slip stitch into the next, and then slip stitch into the next 4. And continue round like that until you get to the end, and I'll meet you back here. At the end of this round, you'll just finish the round by making the last 4 slip stitches, and that includes into the last marked stitch, and that's it. And your placemat is finished, and then you can go on to make however many you need for your table. I really hope you've enjoyed making this pattern. Please let me know in the comments or by liking the video. If you're interested in more sustainable crochet patterns, then follow my channel. Another great pattern to make for the kitchen is my produce bag pattern. You can find that on my channel as well. And I'll see you next time.